Governor Gavin Newsom in California is sending California Highway Patrol to Oakland to clamp down on crime. Let's check it out.
Now, and Lauren, it's gotten so bad that the governor is getting involved again.
Yeah, now for the second time in 6 months, Devin, in August, he sent 6 CHP officers to Oakland, and now he's sending 20 times that amount. The governor says he's hoping to build off some of the success a similar deployment had just across the bay in San Francisco.
I think there's a strong message from all of us. Number one, we want to make sure that people committing crimes, there has to be consequences.
OPD crime stats show a 37% spike in robberies and a 27% increase in burglaries in 2023 compared to 2022.
They just look around all the time, and then they see PD leaves for a second, and then that's when they take the chance.
It was enough to prompt the local In-N-Out to announce its first restaurant closure ever. And the nearby Denny's that closed just last week because of crime already looks like it's been abandoned for years.
The Oakland Airport, the Hagenberger 98th area corridor is a gateway into the East Bay. And we have got to invest more and have dedicated regional, statewide collaboration on how we are going to support and strengthen that corridor.
The CHP deployment is not only meant to help local agencies track down criminals, but also to deter more from jumping on the bandwagon.
If you have extra resources, it prevents people from making those decisions. And especially in our city where
I agree with that 100%.
People sense that it's a free-for-all.
But not all are welcoming the additional forces. Kat Brooks with the Anti-Police Terror Project says the surge of crime is wrong, but an influx of officers could backfire on Oakland's own citizens.
It's going to be 120 officers, and I guarantee you it's going to be a lot more violence against our community members. Is more police presence, more unnecessary contact between our communities and law enforcement, more police violence.
All right, so my question is it...
Oh my gosh, this woke... I'm not even going to say what I want to say. These woke people get on my nerves. These activists, these anti-police, the name says it all, anti-police terror, whatever it's called. She thinks more police presence automatically means more violence against the people of our communities. No, more police presence means less violence in the community from criminals. It's to stop crime. It's not because they're going to start racial profiling, things like that. That's crazy. This woman is a part of the problem. She is the problem. She's a part of it.
Just the benefit of more officers, or are there some things that the CHP can do or perhaps do better than Oakland Police?
So yes and yes. Now CHP has really broad powers across the state, and among those 120 officers, we can expect to see some narcotics officers, some canine units as well. Now remember, OPD has a no chase policy, a pretty strictly enforced no chase policy that does not apply to CHP officers. So a lot of those pursuits that we don't see right now in Oakland to go after some of those thieves, we might now see under.
And see, the criminals know that. They're not stupid. Well, some of them are really stupid, but they know there's no chase policy. They're not going to get chased if they go and rob a store and run out. It's crazy. They enable these people to commit these stupid acts.
This CHP patrol.
And just the obvious benefit of those additional 120 officers on the street policing this.
Gavin Newsom made a statement about this. As crime rates across California decrease, including right across the bay in San Francisco, I mean, I've seen it. I don't know how, maybe it is in certain areas, but all those vehicles I see smashing through stores, it's pretty crazy out there, in my opinion, from what I see. Anyway, including right across the bay in San Francisco, Oakland is seeing the opposite trend. What's happening in this beautiful city and surrounding area is alarming and unacceptable. I'm sending the California Highway Patrol to assist local efforts to restore a sense of safety that the hardworking people of Oakland and the East Bay demand and deserve. Look, I will give credit where credit is due. I'm no fan of Gavin Newsom. It's very clear. But I will give credit where credit is due. If he's sending highway patrol officers into certain areas to clamp down on crime for public safety, I'm all for it because I'm a huge fan of law and order. I'm very big on safety. Public safety is, in my opinion, should be one of the top two issues going into an election, especially locally. When you go into local elections, should be number one, pretty close to it. So I'll give credit where credit is due, sending 120 officers in there to get things under control. Now, this is what Governor Abbott did here in Texas multiple times in Austin as crime started getting out of control after the whole George Floyd nonsense. Austin saw a spike in crime. Governor Abbott said, "We're not having it. Check it out."
A crackdown on crime in Austin. We're getting an update on the Austin Police and DPS partnership. KVU's Isabella Basco is live in North Austin with more about what's changed in the last 2 weeks. Isabella?
Well, Brian and Ashley, Austin Police Chief Joseph Chacon says that crime is going down, and it's only been 2 weeks since this partnership began. You might be wondering, by how much? Well, we asked some questions, and we gave you some answers.
Just 2 weeks in, a new partnership between APD and the Texas Department of Public Safety appears to be making a difference. Violent crimes are going down, according to APD's Chief Data Officer, Jonathan Kringen. Last year, 89 violent crimes happened each week. The first week of the partnership, the number of violent crimes went down 25%. It's now 67.
So these are including aggravated assault, that's assaults involving a weapon, murder, sexual assault, and robbery.
So the data you just gave now, you're comparing that to the year before?
We're comparing it to what has happened every single week in the year before.
How about calls for emergencies?
The most risky calls dropped by 27% in the areas DPS was working, 15% citywide.
Officers are also responding to emergency calls at a faster rate.
Citywide, the average response times for emergency calls went down by about 23 seconds, and urgent calls went down by about 52 seconds.
Since the partnership started 2 weeks ago, DPS made more than 4,000 traffic stops. They've been writing tickets just 25% of the time. Chief Chacon says they're not making traffic stops based off demographics in specific neighborhoods. They're focused on where the calls are coming from.
We know that the majority of the time, the officer or the trooper that is pulling the person over, 97% of the time does not know the race of the person that's in the vehicle.
Why bring in the assistance from DPS?
I think we're at a critical.
And see, he's absolutely right. You have these morons that say, "Oh, well, they're coming to our neighborhoods. They're only targeting black people or Hispanic people." No, you go where the crime is. You go where the calls are. Has nothing. Like the guy said, majority of the time, they don't even know what race the person is driving the car. You go where the calls are. And there was a study done about this, I believe it was by the FBI, not that long ago, which showed that a large amount of the calls where the police go has nothing to do with race. They are not targeting black people or Hispanic people or any other demographic. They're targeting crime.
Critical point right now. We are over 300 officers short. Most of those folks are patrol, and for that reason, patrol is short. It also takes them away from investigating homicides or robberies or sexual assaults. So that is troubling.
How long will the partnership last? For now, there's no timeline.
And that we're kind of taking it, letting the data drive it, and we'll make a decision jointly on when it makes sense to end the operation.
Putting a focus on filling their police academies and placing good officers back on the streets.
Now, DPS officers are helping with traffic enforcement and also being deployed to areas where violence starts. Those include areas like U.S. Highway 183 and I-35 near downtown. Dr. Kringen says they'll also keep tracking this data to see how effective this partnership is. Brian and Ashley?
Yeah, it's very effective. It's very effective when they send in these other forces. California Highway Patrol, Texas Department of Public Safety officers, when they go to these areas, they can do certain things that the local jurisdictions will not allow their police officers to do. Now, it's very important that you have a district attorney who will actually prosecute crimes. But the thing is, you have a large police presence. It does deter people from doing certain things. I was also reading that Texas DPS troopers nabbed a bunch of drugs during the first week, and like what they were reading here in the video, I looked into the little more detail myself, a breakdown, and it was very effective. So we've seen this done by Governor Abbott, like with the George Floyd riots. He's sending troops down to Houston, I believe, and he'll send to Austin. Ron DeSantis did it down in Florida. So you had governors taking action to bring normalcy, not let things get out of control. You saw that a lot. That's why it didn't really get out of control here in Texas with the riots. In Florida, it was not as bad as other places like LA, or you saw in Chicago and New York when it was out of control. But good job to Gavin Newsom for getting this, realizing that there's a problem in Oakland. Stores In-N-Out closing, Denny's closing. People are scared. And look, good job. Like I said, I'll give credit where credit is due. And hopefully that this will make a change for the positive for the people of Oakland. I've never been there, and I have no plans on going there. But there are people that love their communities, that want to be there, that spend their whole lives there, families there. And they don't deserve to live unless you vote for that nonsense. If you keep voting for it, then sorry. But if you're just a law-abiding citizen, you're working hard, you're not voting stupidly, you don't deserve to be around this nonsense. Crime being out of control is crazy. So remember that when you go to the ballot box locally, and on the state level and the federal level, crime. Think about crime. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.